Metro TV, insightful and inspiring moment.
Good afternoon and welcome to News Flash at 4 with me, Ethel Poplampo. In the next 30 minutes, we'll be streaming on all social media handles, including Facebook and Twitter, at Metro TV GH. We are also live on DSTV channel 277 and GoTV channel 170. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. President Akufo-Addo appoints Mustafa AbdulHamid MPA CEO. Prophet reveals how God has disallowed the Ghana Traditional Council to observe the ritual of banning on noise-making in 2022. We'll tell you more in the next 30 minutes. Stay with me. Welcome back now to the first story. President Akufo-Addo has appointed Dr. Mustafa AbdulHamid as the Chief Executive Officer of the National Petroleum Authority. The appointment takes effect from July 1st, 2021. Dr. Mustafa AbdulHamid previously served in the first term of President Akufo-Addo as Minister of Information and subsequently as the Minister of Inner City and Zongo Development. He also served as the National Campaign Manager for President Akufo-Addo's successful second-term bid in 2020 and was in charge of campaign communications. Upon his assumption to office, Dr. Hamid will champion the mission of the NPA, which is to regulate, oversee and monitor the downstream petroleum industry in Ghana. Now, latest survey by the Child Rights International indicates that over 6,000 out of 11,228 children have indicated their willingness to leave the country in search of greener pastures and also get better education. The report, which was conducted between June 2020 and April 2021, had 55% children aged between 12 and 17 from all 16 regions showing interest in moving out of the country. Executive Director of Child Rights International, Brighter Pia, has asked government to put systems in place to avert the situation.
If you are able to put all these things in place, we would affirm the belief systems of our children in this country, and then they will contribute their quota. Then again, I also realize that there's a lot of things that are going on that we don't have a national agenda that children have understanding of it. Therefore, they feel that most of the things are done according to their own dictate. But we should clearly spelled out the national agenda that children must have understanding about.
The survey, Ghana Through the Eyes of Children, Present and the Next 20 Years, gathered the views of children in the area of education, patriotism and migration, among other topics, with 47% of children painting a bleak picture as to how the country's current educational system will help them secure their future. The Executive Director of Child Rights International asked stakeholders to put policies into perspective to safeguard the future of Ghanaian children.
So clearly, they know what they are talking about, and I think that it is on us to put things in perspective so that children will have a clear understanding of where the country is going. Once we have that, I think that a lot of things we will resolve it without necessarily even going through some ways and all that.
Now, Member of Parliament for Nigo Pram, Sam Nati George, is demanding that government lays a strong foundation for children to serve as a springboard for children in the country. In the same spirit, former Executive Director of Dankwa Institute, Richard Ahiagba, wants political parties in the country to make a collective effort towards a common goal for safeguarding the future of the Ghanaian child.
And I dare say that these 11,000 respondents, if kids of elites were part, it would be less than 1%. This would be regular, average Ghanaian kids. What they are aspiring to those who are today clothed with the power to fix this country and make it attractive for these kids to want to stay here to school because they know they will get the quality of education, stay here to work because they know they will get the correct remuneration for it, their kids are not even here. So there is no reason for them to fix the system. That's the point I'm trying to make, Randy. Because you see, Randy, they're only aspiring to what the people at the top are doing. And so if we continue to do that, you only have people who are seeking the next opportunity to go out. I want to believe you've had some education outside the country. I have had education outside the country. Randy, you too. Compare that to
the third Sunday of June has been adopted as that special day fathers are honored across the globe. Father's Day is engineered to honor fatherhood and paternal bonds as well as to influence fathers in the society. The host of Metro TV's Good Morning Ghana, Dr. Randy Abbey, says a father does not necessarily translate into parenthood. He cited the distinction between fatherhood and parenthood. Richard Ahiangbe, who was on the show earlier, added his voice, saying fatherhood does not necessarily require providing money only to the family in times of need. MP for Ningo Pram Sam Judge reiterated the earlier opinions by sounding caution to fathers to keep a closer relationship with their children. This was to mark the recent past Father's Day.
Largely, being responsible or irresponsible has been seen within the context of providing, you know, providing financially. Yeah. But it goes beyond providing financially. And there are many, when I speak with some of the very senior friends of mine, I mean, and we all try to learn from those who've traversed the paths that we are, you know, journeying on now. You know, for many of them, they wish that they could turn things back and maybe be there a lot more for their children. There are quite a number of them whose children have not turned out well. And it's because they were busy, focused on career, and making the money and doing all that. And for them, the fact that they were able to put bread on the table was sufficient. They were able to pay fees even for reputable institutions for their kids to go to school abroad and all that, and providing for everybody the holidays and everything. They thought that was it. They were playing their part. But incidentally, they found out rather belatedly that, look, I mean, being a parent goes beyond just paying the bills, you know, and for many of them, they can't change it. They probably will have to live with those consequences. So it's maybe us who, it's us who will have to take a cue, you know, from that and realize that, I mean, being a dad, a father, or a parent goes beyond just the bills. I mean, there's a lot more that you have to do for the upbringing of your kids.
I think it's in order to wish all fathers belated Father's Day and charge all fathers to continue to do what they do. Okay. Even though the emotions are not expressed as much as we do for our mothers, but we celebrate all our fathers.
Do you crave it? Do you crave for it?
No, I don't crave for it, but I think that if it's elevated much as Mother's Day, it would incentivize more men to want to be the fathers that they ought to be.
Richard, there are things you just don't fight. You don't wear your head over it. Just,
but this is a winner for society.
You just go with the flow, that's all.
Okay.
I think that, and this is not to pass the buck, but I think that one thing that brings out the super dad is having that excellent support structure in a wife. Because you see, in this past year, where my kids have not gone to school because of the COVID issues, Randy, I have had to go to work. I've had to be out there constantly. My kids are home, basically learning online. And the person who has kept my kids active is my wife. So there is no way I could have possibly combined having to pay the bills, be there for the kids, and still give the kids a certain standard or quality of education and mentorship and tutorship and parenting without a supportive wife.
Now, students of Wa Islamic Senior High School in the Upper West region on Monday besieged the premises of the regional police headquarters, demanding the release of some 3 teachers and 4 students. The staff and students were arrested earlier on Monday, June 21st, following a complaint lodged by a man who was arrested by the school and handed over to the police for alleging robbing and attempting to rape students. Our Upper West regional correspondent Adam Musa has the rest of the story read to you.
Some staff and students of the school were arrested by the Wa Police Command following an assault complaint lodged by a man who was nabbed by the school. The man, whose name was only given as Sharon, was arrested at the school's campus for an attempted rape and was immediately handed to the Wa Police. He was tied with a rope on his 2 legs before the police arrived and took him away. The Regional Public Relations Officer, Chief Inspector Gideon Boatin, has been narrating what happened to Metro News.
They were not detained as the students. I don't know who engineered the students. And they came here and started throwing stones at the main charge office. So the police stand by, which were there to go for duty. Start the student to go. We didn't arrest anyone, but the way and manner they were throwing the stones and being over here was very bad.
He said the police are currently investigating alleged assault and alleged rape cases and in due course would brief the media.
The West African Examination Council has debunked claims that the 2020 West African Senior School Certificate Examination questions were leaked before the exams. According to the head of public affairs at WAEC, Agnes Kujo, the methodology used by the Ghana Education Watch in its assessment of the 2020 West African Senior School Certificate Examination was not credible. She added that the assertions of the questions leakages are as a result of the circulation of fake papers and past questions on social media, which are not from WAEC.
There were no actual questions that were leaked. Our press statement of August 19, 2020, indicated that several fake versions of questions, including those of Integrated Science 2 and 1, Social Studies 2 and 1, Chemistry 3, that's Practical Alternative A, and Economics 2 and 1 papers, were shared on social media platforms, and we still stand by that statement. Perceived leakages, which I believe is what Africa Education Watch is referring to, have been due to the following. 1, circulation of fake question papers and past question papers purported to be the actual paper from about 3 days to the conduct of the examination. And I'm sure most of you can remember that before we started the conduct of the 2020 WAS, we saw several versions of integrated science papers circulating on social media. The council even came out with a statement saying that those papers were fake, and that is what led to some of the unruly behavior by some candidates after the paper was written. And then snapping of the actual paper and posting it online a few minutes before the start of the examination. We will recall that during the BEC for School 2020, WAEC Intelligence picked up 9 supervisors and invigilators who had mobile phones on them and had snapped the question paper and posted them on various platforms. This issue was reported to the police and they have since been prosecuted. In its report, EduWatch erroneously states that questions are transported from their respective exam centers either on the night prior to or at the dawn of the examination day, depending on the distance between the WAEC depot and the center. We wish to state that WAEC does not transport question papers to exam centers on the night prior to or at the dawn of the examination day.
You are watching News Flash here on Metro TV. We'll go for a break and be back with more.
Bonsoir, monsieur, madame, et voilà.
Ah, babe, what is this?
This is the escargot and the foie gras. Oui.
Where did she go?
You pa one casa who say obase or pay fiedian, eh?
It's been long since you ever felt like this.
Welcome to the best in Ghanaian entertainment on Akwaba Magic. Ifie. Welcome home to Akwaba Magic on DSTV channel 150. It's your moment. DSTV.
The world has seen a lot of evolution in recent times. Global network facilitated by trade continues to grow stronger and forge nations closer together.
On International Trade Focus, we'll share with you the current industry, tech and commercial avenues turning the world's trade wheel. This is your gateway to international business connections and trading events. Get the inside views, vital information, trends and analysis on emerging trade giants in Ghana and beyond. International Trade Focus, the global television trade showcase, transcending barriers in creativity and innovation. Join me, Anna Spiel, as I give you a whole menu of international trade activities. International Trade Focus, your timely business hub. International Trade Focus is brought to you by GO, ADB, Pediatric Valley Resorts and Public Elegance.
Thank you for staying. Now, the Managing Director of Ignite Media Group, Kayode Akintemi, has paid a courtesy call on the Minister of Information, Kojo Opon-Kroma, to, among other things, discuss how Ignite Media Group, which includes Metro TV, Original TV and Original FM, can properly tell the Ghanaian and African story to the rest of the world. During the visit, he expressed interest in collaborating with the Ministry of Information and other ministries to push the developmental journalism agenda that will make Ignite Media Group a major driver in the growth of Ghana and Africa as a continent.
It's extremely important that developmental journalism has got to be the direction that we go, and that means that we have to tell government what we feel the people are saying, and when government does something right, we cannot ignore it. It has to be our job and our duty to say government has done well here, so that there is an appreciation of the effort of government and there is an appreciation of the achievement of government, so that everything is not focused on the opposition's perspective of nothing is ever good, because the media is not part of the opposition. The media has got to be a party that is objective, not subjective, that is able to look at it from a higher moral ground and be able to appreciate what is done. So that's what we are looking to do, and that's why we feel very strongly that it's important that now that I am here, that I spend a little bit of time with you to let you know that we are partners in progress. We're here to help you push your agenda, help the Ministry of Information, help the government of Nana Akufo-Addo to push the agenda, and where there are lapses, to help identify it, not with a view to castigate or push it down, but to let it be clear that these things have to be addressed, and when they are, for us to say, well done.
What is our responsibility? Do we want to instill fear or despair within the society? Or do we want to be the ones that are always sowing a seed of hope and possibility and encouragement to the society? I watch and listen to shows which start with the message of motivation, and then the rest of the show is all about just sowing despair. But I think that in the conversation of responsibility, you can also look at what is your role, what is your responsibility in helping to build up our children, in helping to build up young people, in helping to build up the society. How do we contribute to the building of the society? So welcome once again. I can only wish you all the best. Our doors are open. We have a number of things that we do to tell the government story and to take feedback.
Yes.
And we'll be more than excited to collaborate with you to tell the story, and also through your channels to get feedback from the people of Ghana so that we can loop that back into the work that we do. I can only wish you well.
The president of Final Global Movement, Dr. David Bidan, says there will be no ban on drumming and noise-making in the capital come 2022. The ban, which deters indigents within Greater Accra from engaging in drumming and noise-making ahead of the yearly Homowo festivity by the Traditional Council, has been spiritually disallowed by God and will soon be manifested in the physical, according to him. He made these comments during a news conference in Accra held under the auspices of his outfit.
I'm speaking not on behalf of any organization or group, but as the voice of the heavenly kingdom of Jesus Christ to the nations, and for that matter Ghana and the city. I declare this truth, that the situation where men on the earth impose a ban on drumming and noise making and extend it to affect activities in the holy house of God, where Jesus Christ, by his Spirit and the scriptures, is the only person who has the authority to regulate what happens in God's house, is a matter of a high-level spiritual disorder. And that is why, as a prince of the heavenly kingdom of the Lord Jesus, I have spiritually reversed that disorder and removed that reproach on the house of God in the city. This has been done in the realm of the spirit and shall be so in the physical, except it is revealed to exclude effects in the holy house of God. And it shall not happen from 2022. I would like to stress that the ultimate purpose for this address is to make known to the stakeholders what the current state of affairs is in the spirit, so that they have about a whole year from now to appropriately advise themselves towards 2022. And the reason is that usually when men on the earth are acting and they don't know the realities of the situation in the spirit, they are likely to take actions which cannot exempt them from the spiritual implications of those actions.
Now, the most contagious COVID-19 variant originating from India has been recorded in Ghana. Ghanaian health officials confirmed that the Indian variant, also known as the Delta variant, is one of the 45 variants which are currently in Ghana. The Indian strain has caused huge spikes in India and a serious increase in cases in the UK, despite the fact that large sections of the population in those countries are vaccinated. According to health officials, the controls at the airport must be tightened to stop more importation of the variant. They revealed that the AstraZeneca and Sputnik V vaccines are not effective against the Indian variant. A virologist at the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, Dr. Michael Owusu, says it will be difficult to attain a herd immunity with the coming in of the new variant with the different dynamics in its presence. He confirmed that the new Indian variant cannot be treated with both the Sputnik V or AstraZeneca. He spoke on Newsbeat with Bright Ameni.
The first wave was contributed by the very wild strain, which is the Wuhan strain. The second wave was due to the Alpha strain, which is what we term as the UK. And then what is happening with the third wave is what is called the Delta strain. The Delta strain has more than 70% transmissibility. And then it also is capable of causing severe disease, and is also capable of causing high level of mortality. So it's a bit similar to the Alpha one, but more severe compared to the Alpha one. The question of vaccines need to be looked at in two ways as to what the meaning is. When you give vaccines, there are endpoints that you measure. One of them is called symptomatic endpoints. And then we also have endpoints such as hospitalization and death. So what we understand about AstraZeneca Pfizer and the Russian vaccines is that when it comes to, for instance, the Delta strain, the Pfizer vaccine has high level of efficacy in preventing symptomatic disease. I mean, it's about 88%, whilst the AstraZeneca has about 60% in preventing symptomatic disease. But when it comes to hospitalization, it's about 96% for Pfizer and 92% for AstraZeneca. So it doesn't mean that Pfizer will not work, or it doesn't mean that AstraZeneca will not work, but then the level of protection it tends to be much lower if you are measuring symptomatic outcome. But then when it's about hospitalization and death, it looks more similar to Pfizer. It will be difficult to prevent. What the scientific community is doing is trying to find vaccines, what we call universal vaccines, that will be able to evoke immune response against changing trend of the virus. But like we know in influenza, it's possible that for every new vaccines that come, we may have to be going for third booster doses or annual booster doses to cover emerging strains that will come. And the way the viruses behave, they work to escape vaccines that are developed. That is how they have been doing for years now. The question of herd immunity will be very difficult because I think as we speak now, it's just about 0.6% of Africans who have been vaccinated against this particular virus. So it will be a bit difficult to talk about herd immunity, especially because we don't have industries in Africa that manufacture vaccines to deal with our problem.
Now, residents and companies along a major drain around the Casapreco Bottling Company at the Spintex Light Industrial Area in Tema West Municipality can now heave a sign of relief as drenching has begun few days after Metro News reports on the health dangers posed by the discharge of industrial waste into the choked drains to residents. The respondents expressed gratitude to Metro News.
Metro News Greater Accra Regional Correspondent Samuel Asamoah last week brought to the notice of authorities how the company's industrial waste discharge into an open but choked drain continues to expose residents to health hazards and negatively affect their businesses. The poorly constructed drain, which carries huge volumes of water uphill through the Tema-Accra motorway ending in the sea, continues to result in flooding of residents' homes and companies as close by. The Tema Municipal NADMO, few hours after the publication, could be seen at the spot with an excavator and commenced dredging the choked drain. Two staff members of Akwaba Oil Refinery, one of the companies funding the dredging, Mastura Lukman and Doris Bossa, have been speaking about their suffering whenever it rains.
They've done a very good job. We didn't know they would come this early or do this quickly. As you can see, it was very bad. The flood was serious. Whenever it rains, it comes to our offices and all that. But with this, it has rained for like some few days now, and we are not experiencing any flood.
Yashasi, ena yate gataimu kama Nenso ye ehwa ko hia se other companies so beba. Na de esese NADMO eye eka adwuma no ho na adwuma no wie peye no ekoso.
A resident.
That'll be all for News Flash today on Metro TV. My name is Ethel Poplampo. Have a good afternoon.
Metro TV, insightful and inspiring moments.